Insurance isn't one size fits all, and shopping for it shouldn't feel like squeezing into something that just doesn't fit. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they show you options that fit your budget. Enough hunting for discounts, trying to calculate rates, and tinkering with coverages. Maybe you're picking out your very first policy, or maybe you're just looking for something that works better for you and your family. Either way, they make it simple to see your options. No guesswork, no surprises. Ready to see how easy and fun shopping for car insurance can be? Visit Progressive.com and give the Name Your Price tool a try. Take the stress out of shopping and find coverage that fits your life, on your terms. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, I'm the Medium, and this podcast is for those who wish to understand the wonderful world of spirit. Where do we go when we die? I'll share stories of mine as a medium and other mediums in our journeys, plus you will hear real-life client readings so that you can know without any doubt that your loved ones in spirit are around you all the time. I'm Jen, and this is the Singing Medium Podcast. Welcome to the Singing Medium Podcast. I'm your host, Jen Abra, and I am a semi-retired medium as of Monday. So just so you guys are aware, and if you follow me on social media, you'll know that I'm semi-retiring from doing private one-to-one readings. So if you want to get in there and get your final reading in. I don't know if I'll be doing them again, when I'll be doing them again, or if I'll be doing them again. But I really hope you guys know that if I have read for you in the past, that I really, really enjoyed connecting with all of your loved ones in spirit. And I feel very sad that spirit and I have sort of co-created this idea that I'm not going to do this for a long time. And I just want you guys to know that I really appreciate you allowing me that access to your experiences and your memories with your loved ones in spirit, and how valuable it is for me as a medium to be able to have this beautiful gift and this training that I'm able to help you in your grief journey. And I just wanted to say thank you, because it really means a lot to me that you guys let me do this for you every day for the past 6 years. And you know me, you guys know I'm very spirit led, so maybe they'll come back around, I don't know. But if you do want to get your final reading in here from my semi-retirement, you can go on the website elevatehersoul.com and grab that reading if you want to. But when you let go of something, okay, so when you let go of something, that's a very strong energy, because then you make room for something else to come in, something that might be a little bit even more exciting or more new or more expansive, or something that you didn't even know you could do. So this is what happened when I made this decision. As I'm chatting with you guys here, when I made this decision, so many things happened to it. It was almost like a domino effect of energy, and one thing after the other just sort of, the thing is with decisions, if you're feeling stuck, and I know I'm saying this for a reason, so someone who's listening to this really needs to hear this. If you're feeling stuck, it could be for a couple of reasons, but the one main reason it could be is because the energy is stagnant and something's not working anymore. And so when you go wishy-washy, when you're like, should I, shouldn't I, do I do this, do I do that, which way do I go? The best thing you can do, even if you don't know the answer, is to just decide. If you just decide you're going to try something different, or your soul is pulling you to take a break from something, and that is when you allow in magic. That is when it makes a room for new. And we're always evolving and we're always changing, and it's so important that you don't stay the same. A lot of people right now are clinging to their sameness, and I'm telling you from experience, and I'm sure you've had times in your life where you've had to change, or you were forced to change something, and you hold on for dear life because you don't even know, you can't see how amazing the thing is or the experience will be until you let go. So you have to let go of the old thing in order to have, and you can't have one foot in and one foot out. I've tried that too, okay? I have tried one foot in, one foot out. It doesn't work because the energy of me having one foot in one world and one foot in another, the universe has no idea what to give you. You have to be all in. You got to be committed. You got to stand in your power and say, you know what? It might work out and it might not work out. But if I don't try, I will never, ever know. Okay? So it's really important that you guys at least feel into that idea that I could change things that are not working for me anymore, and maybe they're slowing down, and maybe that's an invitation from the universe to expand. So once I did this, once I said to you guys, I'm semi-retiring, and to the energy of semi-retiring actually sort of leaves the door open a little bit. So I haven't fully closed the door, but it's pretty closed right now, and I am still allowed to open it whenever I want to. But I'm telling you, I don't see myself doing these readings for a while. I'll probably still do group readings, but not the one-on-one sittings, because what happened is a new idea came in. And that's the topic for today's podcast episode, is the Akashic Records. So once I said, I'm taking a break, I'm leaving these behind, the universe brought in this beautiful, spirit brought in this beautiful idea for me to try something that I actually, and you might not know this, is I actually have been able to do Akashic Records for a while now. I just never was lit up to bring them as a service. So while they are a new service, they won't last long either. I can tell Spirit has said they will not, be around for a long time. It's like, we're here for a good time, not a long time. That song just popped in my head. So I am offering temporarily Akashic Record readings, and I'm going to tell you what the Akashic Records are if you have no idea what I'm talking about, because I know you know what mediumship is, and I know you know what psychic is, and I've done both of those, and now it's time for something new for a little bit. And then also, when I leave Akashic Records behind, that it's also going to make room for a new expansion. So also what I realized too is when I let go of these readings is that I got more creative. It's kind of like, I'm in the closet, so it's kind of like the closet. When the closet gets overcrowded, you kind of feel heavy and yucky and jittery, and you just want to clean it, but you don't have the energy to do it. And you want to buy new clothes, but you've got no more room, and all the hangers are full, and it just makes so much sense for you to clean out the closet. And I believe that you shouldn't clean out a closet until you feel 100% excited to, or like spirit-led or inspired to clean the closet. Because when that energy comes in, that's that magical energy that brings in the new stuff. And it's like you're telling Spirit, I'm growing, I want to grow, I want more knowledge. It's like a computer that's full too, like my computer storage, I can't record things very much because there's so much stuff on the computer, so I have to remove and delete some things that I don't need anymore so that I can have this new stuff. I got more creative. I started a project, which I can't tell you about yet. Okay, I will tell you about the project, but it's like leading to this big thing that I'm going to do in the future that I kind of know because I tapped into my Akashic Records by myself. And yes, you can do this too. So I tapped into the Akashic Records, and I will be able to see more things. So this is what happens when you make a decision. Wishy-washy? No, it's painful. It's more painful to be wishy-washy than it is just to make a decision, even if you make the wrong choice. Just make a decision. I'm telling you, the expansion that comes from that is unbelievable. Okay? It's way better than what you're currently experiencing. So stop hanging on to this old crap and let go and see what comes. Okay. So what is an Akashic Record? So this happened. I've been able to do this for a few years. My belief is you don't need a certificate to be able to read the Akashic Records. Now, depending on your belief, you might believe otherwise, and that is okay. Some courses you have certificates, some you don't. It's a piece of paper. Now, I'm not saying to be a doctor you shouldn't take a course and have a certificate and be trained in it. This is totally different. Sometimes in the spiritual realm of things like that, it sometimes seems silly to me to require a piece of paper that you have spiritual access to in your soul. It's inside of you already. All this stuff that you learn about, it's already inside of you because you take it from your soul from years and years of training, and your soul is very wise, and you have all this divinity, this divine knowledge inside of you, and you can access it at any time. And you can't access it if you're doing the same thing every day, and you're only seeing one path ahead of you, okay? So you got to open your eyes, and you've got to really trust that your imagination is a vehicle, okay? So the reason I'm saying this is just because on the weekend, I took a course with Kevin Todeschi, and he is an Edgar Cayce expert. He was like one of the head honchos who ran the Edgar Cayce foundation of the community, and he has been teaching for years. And I never heard of this guy, just like you probably never heard of me sometimes, all of a sudden everywhere. That's how you know it's time to learn from this person. So while he was very well known, I had never heard of him. Okay. Then all of a sudden he comes up all over my Facebook feed like I do for you guys. Never heard of you before, but now I feel like I need to do something with you. That's how you know, that's spirit. So I took this course on last Saturday and was on the Akashic Records based on Edgar Cayce's work. Now, Edgar Cayce was one of the most well-known, famous psychics that there is in like the early 1900s. He's obviously no longer with us, but there is a whole bunch of information that you could find on him. It's fascinating. So this was specifically how to access the Akashic Records. Now, remember, I already knew how to do it. And you can't go into something like that if you know how to do something, go, well, I know everything that there is. You can't teach me something different. So if you're a medium and you see this course come up and you're like, oh, I don't need any more training. I know everything about mediumship. That I call no on that, because you being a medium is a lifelong journey. You have to take breaks, but you also have to train your entire life. You know, an hour after I took that course, I took a course with Mavis Patilla, who is literally one of the most famous female mediums of all time. She's been a medium for 50 years. And the first thing she said to us in the class was, you have to keep doing this your whole life. She goes, I'm still learning. And I like that, because when I was first starting out, I'm like, well, I took an 8-week course and now I'm a medium. Now I know everything there is about mediumship. You know, you can get caught up in that, and you have to understand that this is a lifelong learning process, especially in mediumship. So I can already do Akashic Records, and I didn't go in there thinking I know everything, because I know I don't know everything about Akashic Records. Nobody does. And so I went in there with this open mind, and some of the things that he said sort of just like knocked me off my chair, because I was like, that makes so much sense. And the one thing that he said that you guys need to understand is the imagination is a vehicle. So a lot of times my students say to me, I think I'm just making this up. And that's the problem, because the clairvoyance is it's literally placed in your imagination. So if you close your eyes right now and you visualize your forehead, and you're on the inside of your forehead looking at a screen, which would be the front of your forehead, but you're inside your mind's eye, you can picture a screen there. So you can imagine a movie screen, okay? But the thing is, it is generated. That movie is generated by your imagination. So the one thing I loved about this course is he said your imagination is a vehicle. And I want you to really let that sink in. If you're training to be a medium or a psychic or Akashic Records or any kind of clairvoyant work, it's very important that you understand that your clairvoyance or your seeing, your psychic seeing, is coming from your imagination. So your job is to decipher, is this my imagination, or is this what I am meant to be seeing? And the answer is both. Your imagination is the vehicle. This is your gift, your imagination. So that's why it's always like when you're a kid, like we do inner child work, like go back to when you're a kid. We don't use our imaginations hardly at all anymore. We are boring. We just like, here's Netflix, and we got to zone out from our problems. And we don't use our imaginations as much as we did when we were kids. Now, the time that we will use it when you are trained to be a medium, or when you're painting, or you're an artist, or you're creating something, you'll use your imagination. Okay, because you can see it in your mind's eye, and you can place it in the physical world. So this is a thing that you really need to understand. And when he said that, I was like, that makes so much sense. That is like a nugget of wisdom I'm going to share with my students and my listeners. It's really important that you understand this. So what are the Akashic Records? So basically the Akashic Records are, if you want to picture in your mind's eye, in your imagination, a very large book. Now, this book will have to be very big and massive, because it contains every word, every thought, every experience, every relationship, everything you've ever said out loud, you've talked to in the history of the world. So back in Jesus' time, everything Jesus said, everything Buddha said, everything George down the street said, everything that you have said is recorded in this supercomputer or this super book. Okay. I mean, it won't be the majority of people who understand this, but if you've ever seen the Loki TV series when Loki has to go to the Time Authority, whatever it's called, there's actually a man there, and every time Loki opens his mouth, the guy writes the word down or he types it. That's kind of like what it is. So every time you say something, it gets recorded in this book. Okay. And then when you cross over, you will have access to this book when it's your time, and you will go through the book and you will be shown certain things, certain movies of your life, things that you did from your perspective, from some other people's perspective. And that's part of the learning process when you get there. So you will have access to this when you cross over. But the cool thing is that you can access it now, and I'll get into that in a minute. But basically, it's like the largest supercomputer of recording the history of every single human being that has been alive, everything they've said, every thought they've had. Everything is recorded in this book. And then it kind of breaks down into your own little supercomputer, into your own little book. Okay? So that's basically what it is. And the cool thing is, if you go in meditation and you want to access your Akashic Records, you actually have to go through a process. Now, some teachers will teach that you have to say a prayer, which is a good idea. Some teachers teach that there is something you have to say or follow that is in accordance to the methods, the proper, appropriate methods to tuning in or accessing Akashic Records. There is a little bit more tuning in involved where you have to, like for me, I would take deep breaths. I would do a little bit of sacred breath work first. Then I set my intention, and I have to ask. So you cannot demand, I want my Akashic Records right now. You can't do that. You have to ask permission. So if I'm doing this for someone, say I'm doing this for you. And my process would be, it would be helpful to have your first and last name. I would need your first and last name and maybe your birth date. And then I have to go in and ask your guides if it's okay if we go, because your guides are going to take us up to the Akashic Records. And then when you might pass like space. You might see faces or images when you go up. And then we get to the top, and then there's a door. You have to ask permission to go in the door, or there's a gate, whatever you want to call it. And then when you get in there, there's a hallway. So imagine a big library. And I call it like an invisible library because it's there, but it's not really there. Containing thousands and like bajillions of books, a book of lives for people's Akashic Records are in there. And you walk down this hallway and you're taken to this elder. There's an elder gentleman standing guarding the book. And of course, it has to be protected because you don't want anyone just accessing your Akashic Records at any time. And so you have to ask permission. So we'd say, okay, can I please see? So you can access future lives, the now moment, the past, or past lives. Okay? So it's based on time, kind of like I teach you in psychic class. In Psychic AF, I teach you that psychic development and psychic reading is about time. Mediumship is about those who have crossed over. So this would be psychically tuned into. Okay? So when you get up there, you have to ask permission. The guy doesn't say very much, and I like to picture Dumbledore. So mine looks like the keeper of my Akashic Record looks like Dumbledore from Harry Potter, and he doesn't really say anything. It's like a telepathic kind of thing. So you go up there and you say, "Can I please have access to so and so's record?" And he will open a page to you, and if you're allowed to see it, you can see it. If you're not allowed to see it, you might not be allowed to see it, because we don't want to ruin the ending for you. And some things are in stone, like some things are going to happen no matter what. But Kevin Todeschi said, and I agree with this, and I knew this before, is that you can change the records. Okay? You can change the future events, but some things have to happen. And the cool part is your past life will show you why you do things, or who you know and what relationships you're in this life, because they've been in the past life with you. So it's really cool when you put those two connected, the past life that you can read about, and then you connect it with your now life. You're like, whoa. So say, for example, someone, like, you take your skills with you in a past life. So here's an interesting thing that I discovered about mine is when I went to my Akashic Records, I noticed that I was a singer. And it was like in the woods, and it was probably medieval times, and I had this long dress on, and I was very shy. So I was hiding behind a tree, and there was a wooden stage there, and they asked me to sing. So in a past life, I was a singer who was shy about singing. So how do you put that in this life? The singing medium, right? I've always had this really weird ability to remember song lyrics from every song there ever was that I'm interested in. I wouldn't know any rap songs, but every song that I've ever heard, I can retain this. And I always thought, like, why do I have this skill? How is this useful to me to have all these song lyrics stored in a jukebox in my subconscious? Well, it makes sense that I go back in my past life as I was a singer. And so I probably knew a lot of songs because you have to memorize songs when you're a singer. And I have all that knowledge here. So to put those two lives together is quite profound when you're able to do that, or you have someone help you do that. Okay. So that's how you can get into them. Now, that's if you have a guide with you. So I don't recommend just going by yourself and just be like, okay, guys, let me see my book. There has to be a respectful energy to your request. So you have to look at it as being sacred. It is divine. It is not up to you. You can't force anything. Anything of ego or conditions would not be allowed anywhere near your Akashic record. So there has to be an opening of surrender, of trust, of understanding, and allowing what you are here to learn and know is going to be revealed to you. If you're not allowed to know it, they just close the book. So if you're very clairvoyant, which is, remember, in your mind's eye, your imagination, you'll see the book being closed. If you're clairaudient, you'll hear this. You'll hear like a book being closed. Sorry, that was loud. I don't know if that was loud or not, but that was loud for me. And it's right near the microphone. Okay, so it's kind of like a life review. But, yeah, I'm just looking over my notes here of like, I was in an outdoor party in the woods. I was shy, but I was a singer on stage. That makes so much sense. So when you tap into your Akashic Records, you're able to see these things. And the cool thing is that you can piece them together. So the skills and talents you had in a past life will be carried into this life and future lives, just in different kind of ways. So you got to be kind of open. And also, I saw people in my Akashic record who are currently in my life who are in a past life with me. So for example, I'll give you another example of my husband, Chad. So when we did this meditation in class, he took us to this beautiful lake or this river, and he had you look into the water, and what you saw in the water was who you were, and you will be very surprised. So when I did this, I looked down in the water, and I had this big poofy white wig on, kind of like you would in the Renaissance age. You know, those big poofy white wigs, and they were powder wigs. I had this on my head, and I had a freckle or a birthmark where I have this random mark on my face that came out of nowhere like a couple of years ago. It's right under my eye. It was right there. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. I had this random mark on my face all of a sudden because I had one then. So he takes you through this meditation, and this is one way that you access your own Akashic records. Okay, I'll get into that in a bit. But in this particular life that I was able to see in the Book of Life, my Akashic records, I was Marie Antoinette or someone similar to that. So they took me in this scene in my imagination, in my mind's eye. I was in a carriage pulled by horses. I had corset really, really tight around my waist. So that makes sense for me in this life where I refuse to wear any tight pants. Like jeans, I don't wear jeans. Everything I wear is either jogging pants or Lululemon leggings. That's all I wear because I cannot stand anything tight around my waist. And that makes sense, right? So I had a corset in this life. And I remember being a little bit scared. I remember looking across the carriage, and there was a man who was, I'm not sure if he was my husband, but he kind of owned me or was the boss of me. And I knew cognizantly that was Chad. So in this past life, he was this man. And the cool, funny thing was, this man in the past life who was Chad, I don't know what the relationship was, but he had a curly mustache, and those waxy ones. And every November, Chad does Movember. And I cringe when Chad has this mustache. And I can't look at him. I can't kiss him. You think you'd be okay with it. You know, you're raising money for charity, Jen. Chill out. But this is why. And I didn't know. So you get so much clarity from doing these Akashic records. So I knew that's why I didn't like the mustache. And then I knew that's why I didn't like tight pants. So it might seem like little things, but you can recover so much information from these records. And then so the whole started playing along, and then it turned into another life, and I was a child in another life, and then I went to another life. I was that singer, and it was just really beautiful to experience this in meditation. So again, you don't need training to do this. You just need meditation. And I wish I could share the Kevin Todeschi, maybe on his website, actually, there might be this meditation that you can try. And if there is, I will put it in the show notes for you guys. Okay. So one of the purposes for why you would go in the Akashic Records is you want to understand, you want to know, what am I supposed to be learning from this? How can I connect this life to a past life event that is affecting me now? So if there's like something bothering you or you can't seem to move forward in a certain area in your life, no matter what you do, go back in the Akashic Records and check, okay, what happened in this past life? Maybe you took an oath of poverty like I did. Maybe you decided you were going to struggle in this life. Now the cool thing is, some people say you can change it, some people say you can't. So it depends. But I feel like you can change it, because are you going to really let like a past life from like centuries ago ruin this life and stop you from achieving what you want to achieve? I don't think you are. So I think you do have the power and the ability to go in and change that. You can't really, sometimes you know what? To heal the past life in the past, I just remember now, I did go in a meditation years ago and I did heal a past life. Something about voodoo and all this stuff that was like a curse on me, and I did heal it. That's another topic for another time, but just, you don't want to let a past life experience, mess up this life. So you've got to get in there and say, okay, well, what is this teaching me? Okay, so the purpose to get in is to grow. You want to grow in your experience. Okay, you want to transform yourself. You want to transform your relationships. Say you have a problem with a partner, or there's some discord in the relationship, or maybe the partner's very controlling with money, and you're like, I don't really understand why he's like this. So go in the Akashic Records, see if you can find out. He was probably someone in your past life who was very controlling, and you are married to him now in this life. There's no coincidence, and there's always a reason why you are have someone in your life. These relationships come to you to teach you something. Okay, and a lot of the people that you know now, you knew in a past life, and it would be in your Akashic Records. Isn't that awesome? Don't you think that's cool? I think that's cool. I'm just going to go through my notes some more and see if there's anything else. He did some really cool exercises to help you get back in there, but basically the best way was to do this meditation. Okay? You don't have to do a specific routine to access the Akashic Records. Yeah. And not all past lives you tap into are negative. They're keys, like unlocking secrets to help you understand yourself, to help you understand your relationships. And so I wanted to try it. What I wanted to do the other night, I decided after I was inspired to try to get in my Akashic Records, is before bed, I set the intention. I asked to be shown my Akashic Records, and my guide took me up, and we went up to the Akashic Record Hall, the library, and I was seeing this Dumbledore man who was the guard. Sometimes they say there's an animal guarding the door. It will be different for everyone, and I'm sure there is a specific way that people teach this. But basically use your own intuition when you're doing this, okay? So when I got up there, Dumbledore was there. I'm just going to call him Dumbledore. It's not disrespect. It's just because that's what I know. So I asked to be shown. So I was able to see two things, okay? Again, I did ask for more, and he's like, nope, book closed. So it's like a really short window of time that you have to access and look in your record. So the first one they showed me, they said, I will visit Ireland at the end of this year. Now, your human mind's like, how is that going to happen? So this could happen not only to my life, but also to the future timelines of the consciousness. So if they're telling me that I'm going to visit Ireland at the end of this year, guess what that means? Good news for all of you. and I was on an airplane. Now, yes, it was in my imagination, but I have extra claircognizance. So I have a knowing within me based upon all of my skills and training and development as a medium. I have very strong claircognizance, so I know when this is true. I have no doubts. I have no doubt when Spirit shows me something, and especially in the Akashic Records can't just make up some hoo-ha garbage. Oh, you're going to go to planet Jupiter. Like, they can't just write random things in this book. I mean, maybe that's your future life, but it can only be truth. That's really important that you understand that. So whatever you see or you read or you hear when you access the Akashic Records, or you have someone read them for you, you got to know it's true. The second thing they told me is, I will learn Sanskrit. What? So my my initial response, my human response to these two pages in my book of life on my Akashic Records was like, what? But I don't question it. You know, I'm going to learn Sanskrit, the hardest language in the world, the language of yoga. Okay, I guess I'm going to learn Sanskrit. And I'm going to go to Ireland. I don't know why I'm going to Ireland. I just know I'm going to go there. And then the day after, I tried again because I'm like, I want more. Because when you get in this record, you're like so excited. I want to know more. I want to know more. But you can't know too much. Like, what happens if they showed you the whole thing? Here's how you're going to die, Diane. Here's how you're going to, your next life's going to be. I don't want to know that stuff, right? So those would be some of the things that they would not allow you access to because it wouldn't be for your highest good. Everything has to be for your highest good. Okay? Then the next day, all they gave me was, I will be riding a bike in a trail. I'm like, first of all, I don't ride a bike. I'm terrified of riding bikes because I fell all the time and I get anxiety and I fall off the bike and I hurt myself. I don't want to ride this bike. But the awesome part is I spend hours and weeks in meditation every night and every morning of me co-creating with the universe, my new house, and it is on land. And so if I'm riding a trail, it could be a signal that I'm going to have what I want. Okay? So it's really important that you have to trust that you are using your imagination as a vehicle, as a gift. Use it to your advantage. Don't push it away and go, oh, goodbye, stupid imagination. You're useless to me. It's actually a gift that is helping you in any of your spiritual work. Okay? And I know, like I have said this multiple times in my mediumship classes, and you're not going to get it until you get it. You will get it when you get it. I cannot make you understand this until you reach the point that you get it. Okay? So I'm going to leave you guys with that because that's a lot of information about the Akashic Records. It's what I know so far. And we only know what we know when we know it. And when it's time for us to learn something more and to know more, then we will. Spirit will let us know when it's time. Okay? So, very exciting. Come and get, if you want to know your past life, how it's connected to this life, if you want to know your future. It's kind of psychic, but it's not. It's a different psychic. It's different than psychic because I actually have to access a book. I have to, like with psychic, I can just go show me everything. With the Akashic Record, I have to only be given what I'm allowed to tell you. But we're going to focus on the past life and connecting it to this life now and why things in your life are going the way they are, why you can't move forward, why are you married to this person who's like that, why did you have an ex-boyfriend who's like that, why do you do the job? Because you had the skill. The skill goes with you in every life. Okay? So, you can go on the website, elevatehersoul.com, and grab your last mediumship reading, or you can go on Instagram under the link in the bio, and you'll be able to access and book your Akashic Record reading. Very exciting. Who knows what's going to come next? I don't know, but I'm excited to just, when this cycle is done, I'll let go and something awesomer will come in. Okay? That's how we want to live. That's how we want to develop and grow. So, thank you so much for joining me. I'm excited to read your Akashic Record for you, and I hope that you will try to do it yourself because you guys can do everything that I can do. All right, see you next time.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Lowe's has the brands pros trust to get the job done. You can now shop new Catalyst fencing solutions and save big when you do. 10% off when you buy in bulk. Plus, save $180 on a DeWalt 12-inch dual-bevel sliding compound miter saw. Now just $449. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/6 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.